Drug production is shifting from Latin America to Asia. Groups ending the war on drugs in Latin America would pivot resources and attention to Asia. Chiapas 6, 1999. Nixon's declaration proves to be premature. For the basic principle of supply and demand once again went to work. Trafficking syndicated in Southeast Asia filled the gap left by the dismantling of the French Connections laboratories, while opium production quickly shifted to new centers, as Alfred J. McCoy and Alan A. Block noted. During the next 10 years, drug trafficking syndicates simply shifting their resources from Turkey to Southeast Asia to Mexico and then to Southeast Asia again, remaining one step ahead of U.S. diplomats and drug agents. Amsterdam replaces Marseilles as the center of European heroin trade and new trafficking syndicates. The triads, Colombians, and African Americans, among others, arose to fill the heroin distribution pipeline. War on drugs in Asia lacks resources and attention. Young and professor at
Association,
Dean, College Liberal Arts, and Dr. Musto Center for Drug Policy Studies at Shanghai University, 2012. Chinese and U.S. officials need to investigate African and Central Asian drug trafficking organized crime groups. Law enforcement agencies should pay attention to the rearmament of drug trafficker groups in Asia and assess the interaction between drug trafficking groups and regional insurgencies and global terrorism. There needs to be greater focus on investigating and the penetrating of drug trafficking organizations into legitimate business sectors. The United States need to devote greater resources and policy attention to this problem. War on drugs is even bigger threat to Asian democracy than Latin American. Vasquez, CATO Institute, 2001. Latin American societies are not the only ones threatened by the global prohibitionist model. Illegal opium production takes place in Pakistan, Afghanistan, China, India, Thailand, Vietnam, Burma, and other countries in South and Central Asia. Many of those nations are struggling to become Latin American societies, are not the only ones threatened by the global prohibitionist model. Illegal opium production takes place in Pakistan. Drug war in Latin America is expanding. Spending on anti-drug efforts in Latin America much higher than a decade ago. Mendoza, February 3rd, 2003. The U.S. authorized the sale of a record $2.8 billion worth of guns, satellites, radar equipment, and tear gas to Western Hemisphere nations in 2011, according to the latest State Department reports. Over the same decade, defense contracts jumped from $119 million to $629 million, supporting everything from Kevlar helmets for the Mexican Army to airport runways in Aruba, according to federal contract data. Last year, $830 million, almost 9 out of every 10 dollars of U.S. law enforcement and military aid spent in the region went toward countering narcotics, up to 30% in the past decade. U.S. anti-drug policies in Latin America use a lot of limited resources.
Time.